Welcome to our Crayfish Weekly webinar series, which is designed to be light, short, but helpful in terms of practical takeaways for your business. This has started in April and it's very popular among our potential clients and also the customers and people who are interested in engaging with Chinese markets more. So today we are going to talk about how to build your thought leadership in the Chinese markets. If you have any questions, you can use the Q&A section on the panel to ask questions to Sally and myself. And towards the end of the panel and the discussion, we are going to answer the questions that you asked in advance and also the questions you asked here. My name is Jiao Li. I'm the co-founder of Crayfish.io. My specialty is around e-commerce and digital marketing in both UK and China. And I'm leading the marketing, sales platform and product development for the company. And a little bit about Crayfish itself. For those who are new to Crayfish, we provide SMEs quality services for cross-border business delivered in an affordable way. This is made possible because of our technology and platform technologies. Our clients will enjoy direct access to experts and services without paying higher fees at boutique advisory rates. Our services cover all business areas. You can see from discovering stage to engaging stage, from digital marketing to HR and recruitment operational stage as well. As I mentioned, we are a business that's powered by technology and delivered by experts. We have 3 different ways to deliver our services to our clients. We have fixed price services. We also offer online marketplace for you to engage with our talents and experts and service providers directly. We also offer tailored services. For the fixed price services, I will show you after our discussion today. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker today, who is Sally Mei Ip. Sally is the founder of a boutique consulting agency called 11K Consulting. And she has more than 16 years of solid experience and proven records in devising and delivering award-winning campaigns for multinational and national companies in China, Hong Kong, across Asia and globally. Over to you, Sally. Sally is actually also a vetted service provider on our platform. Welcome, Sally, and please share your screen.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot for having me today to spare your next precious 20-25 minutes with me. So I'm just going to share my screen and hopefully you can see it now. It's okay, Jay?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So today is really all about how to build your brand reputation and what we call thought leadership in the massive crowded China market. And this is really a very 101 lessons. And if you want to go into details, we could talk offline. So today I will focus on a few things, what we call do's and don'ts, what to do to build your trusted brand image in China, and also what do not to do when you come to the Chinese audience. So I thought I would ask you a few questions just to get your mindset in the Chinese market. So do you think this poster, an ad campaign run by Mercedes-Benz 2 or 3 years ago is a hit or miss? It is a good PR campaign or bad PR campaign? You can type your answer in the chat room. So basically they quoted Dalai Lama quote, look at situations from all angles and you will become more open. Do you think this poster is good or bad for the Chinese audience? They did get 90,000 likes. So any guess from the audience? I don't know if I can see your answer here. But the answer is no. So this is a huge mistake because in China, we don't really talk about politics, and it's a no-no to have any political stand views in your communications when it comes to Chinese market. So this is a big no, and they did see a big drop in sales after launching this poster campaign a few years back. So the second question, so have a guess again. So this is a campaign run by a famous luxury brand, Dolce & Gabbana in China. So basically, this famous actress was using chopsticks to eat pizza. So do you think it is a good or bad PR campaign for the Chinese market? Again, hit or miss, you can type in the chat room. Yes, so yeah, all right, so very bad. So this is a big no-no. Why is so wrong? Because for Chinese audience, it is such an insult in some way, that as if you are saying that we don't know how to use fork and knife to eat pizza, and then we need to use chopsticks. So again, this is just not being sensitive to our heritage, our culture. So again, when you are communicating with Chinese audience, really think from our local perspective. How do we perceive from our Chinese perspective? So again, Dolce & Gabbana saw a massive drop in their sales after running this campaign. So a simple thing like that can cause a huge damage on your brand reputation. So this is a big no. So last one. So this is a Chinese New Year campaign run by Burberry, which is a very popular British fashion clothes brand, and they are massive in China. So they run this campaign with a lot of famous actors, having this family shot for the Chinese New Year just 2 years ago in 2019. Again, do you think this is a good or bad campaign for the Chinese audience? So some of you say good, some of you say bad. So unfortunately, this is a really bad campaign. And here, why is not good? Because the value of Chinese New Year is all about happiness and celebration. And on this poster, no one is smiling. Everyone looks so sad. Like for your Christmas, everyone is looking so sad. So again, this is not understanding the value of Chinese culture, and maybe trying to be creative, but it did not work. So again, when you try to communicate with Chinese audience, really try to understand the values and communicate in the positive ways. So this is a no-no to bear in mind. So these three examples just get your mindset into the Chinese audience, and then how to communicate with them more effectively. And this slide, I want to show you then how you actually build a trust and relationship with the Chinese audience. This is quite a generalized approach, but give you an idea how to talk to Chinese audience. So not surprising, it's a mix of online and offline activities, because we live in both digital world and also in a physical world despite COVID. So we still need both in order to touch the heart of your Chinese audience. So online PR is really to build your reputation online, so you become visible, trusted in the online world, to be seen in trusted media, such as China Daily, Fox China, SCMP, etc., so that you are seen as the expert in your industry. And then it's also important to be on the right social media. I'm not saying that you have to be on all social media, because it's just impossible, but really to understand who are you talking to, and then decide if you need to be on WeChat or on Little Weibo or on Weibo. So again, it depends on your company, and then decide if you need to be on social media, and then decide what is actually the best one to go for. In the Western world, so it means, do you need to be on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter? So it's the same for China. I don't expect you and don't recommend you to be on everywhere, because it doesn't work. So really understand the social media landscape is also very important for the Chinese market. And then partnership and events for Chinese market, because it is massive and it's in Chinese. So it always works better and more effective if you can work with some local Chinese partner to help you. It can be PR agency, it can be business consultancy, but people who have the knowledge and the connections established in the local market or in UK-based Chinese community already, so that it's not too much hard work for you to start from scratch. And in fact, it is important to know these people because Chinese people trust their friends more than a new company or new person. So it's just a faster way to communicate if you can establish a relationship with some partners, and then with the goal to reach out to your end customers. The last one, thought leadership. By that, it means to consistently push out your messages on the right channels through online press, through social media, through offline, online events, webinars. Because we are now so busy and we forget things easily. So it's not just like 3 months of campaign and then you disappear. It doesn't work. So for me, when I advise my clients, it is a long-term commitment. And if you are not prepared to commit for at least 12 months, then I think it's a waste of your time and resources to even start your China PR and marketing. It is daunting and complicated, but it does work, and the return on investment do come along when you start early, before your competitors start looking to China. So I think the last line, I'm not going to go into details, but this is quite a simple checklist for you to start thinking about China PR. So starting with your strategy, if you have a written document on your vision, who are actually your target audience? Are they men, women, what age, what are their lifestyles, etc.? What are your key messages for them? What do you want to say them, tell them? What are your challenges when you talk to them? And then how are you going to overcome these problems? So tactics are really a mix of different things, depends on your target audience, which usually includes online media, conferences, roadshows, maybe even live streamings, engagement with KOLs if you're more in the consumer sector, and then social media. And then it's also equally important to make sure you have a set of KPIs for yourself or for your agency partner, so that you know exactly how your money is being spent and what you are going to get at the end of your investment. So I think I will stop here. I won't talk too much and let more time for you to ask questions. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much, Sally. If you can stop sharing, yes, great.
Yes.
I think what I have learned something from your presentation as well, and I really love your examples of the hit or miss. I think the last Burberry example is actually the debating point also in our chat as well. Some of them think that, you know, in Western perspective, they don't look sad at all. They think they look high fashion. Maybe I could chip in here a little bit as well, because when you, as Sally mentioned, when you are in February and when everything is about celebration, it's very important that you show the celebrational atmosphere. It's not just about facial expression. You can see their background is it has a lot of black and white, which is deemed as not lucky in Chinese culture. So that plays in the result of, you know, it didn't do well as well. So let's start with the questions, if you don't mind. The first question from the audience is actually, what are the first steps on creating a brand in China from an English speaking company?
Yes, so just thinking that you are entering a new market and you are serious about being seen as an expert in China. So it's really important that you have materials in Chinese, just make you look good and serious when Chinese audience actually see things about you in Chinese. By that, I mean, considering to have a Chinese brochure, corporate brochure in Chinese. For website, it's arguable if you need a Chinese website or not, at least a landing page. And also to think about WeChat, because everyone is on WeChat. If you're thinking about long term, so you should have a WeChat company account, because a lot of Western websites are blocked in China. So if they cannot see you on your company website in the West, then how can they find you. So the very first baby step is to make sure you have something in Chinese to start with as the icebreaker. And we have helped our clients to do this as well. And they did feedback to us that when they are really communicating with their Chinese prospects, and when the Chinese prospects see that they actually have a Chinese brochure, that is really impressive. And that set them apart from other competitors who only show them an English brochure, because it just demonstrates how serious you are with them. And they would tend to like you more if you can communicate with them in their own language. They of course don't expect you to speak Chinese, but at least if you can show that your commitment and your effort to communicate with them, starting with a simple brochure and ideally with a Chinese landing page and official WeChat account in the longer term, that would definitely help you to build your trust and relationship with the Chinese customers.
Great answers. And I think this actually triggers two more questions. One is actually from the previous questions, and the other one is actually from the chat now, which is how important is it converting your brand image, corporate identity into a Chinese version? And when you actually do that, how far do you need to go in converting existing brand image? Does name, logo, product image just enough, or we need to go further? All the thought leaderships should be in Chinese, and what's your suggestion?
Can I ask our guest, is it Zhou Hen? Which sector are you in? But just to give you a big picture answer, so you are still you, you are still your company. So I wouldn't suggest you to go crazy or totally change your brand value image just for the Chinese market, because what Chinese clients are buying into is actually you being a British brand or a foreign brand, and that actually make you stand out among other Chinese competitors, if you do have in China. For example, to give you an example, in the past, we have been working with Burlington Arcade for 5 years. So we don't translate Burlington Arcade name into Chinese. Well, we did just a literal translation, but we still want to keep the 200-year-old British heritage image, because that's why people want to go there and shop there. So there's a reason to keep your authentic brand image, even for the Chinese market, and therefore actually that's why people are buying into. Having said that, if you can, it is good to give your company name a Chinese name just for people to remember more easily, because not all the Chinese people speak good English, and it just helps you to be more memorable. Having said that, we always advise our clients to have your English name and then your Chinese name together. So it's not like you lose your English name and then people just remember your Chinese name, but always to be seen together, English and Chinese, that help people to remember you better, but still keep your first priority image in that sense. And then depends on your sector. So example, so sorry, I'm reading.
Yes, while you are reading, I actually resonate with Sally on keeping your British or keeping your Western identity. Some of our clients, when they actually do go out and publish on their WeChat articles, what we always suggest is that you publish a translation version of Chinese on top, but you do put your English original at the bottom of the article to show that you are bilingual and you have your original identity. That actually helps to differentiate you from your Chinese local competitors.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And the next question, which is I think a very practical one. How can you get press coverage in China and find out names of industry specific publications?
Yeah, so that is our trade secret. I'm going to tell you secrets. So how do you actually do it? Good news, bad news. It depends on how deep you want to penetrate into the market, because it's Chinese market, so things are in Chinese. So if you really want to go deep into the very wealthy Chinese people, you have to be in the Chinese press, meaning that you probably need a Chinese agency to help you to do that if you don't have the Chinese capability in-house. But if you only want to reach to the Chinese kind of English expert press title, then maybe you can do it yourself because it's in English. But if you really want to do well, I would recommend you that you need a local partner to do this for you. But how can you find the press? How do you work around where you should be seen? So I would tell you 3 tips. First, to search on Baidu, which is China's version of Google. Just type, for example, British luxury fashion, and then see what's come up, what kind of media have reported this kind of news before. Then you know that this kind of media are interested in this news, and probably you should be there. And because it's also searchable and visible on Baidu, which is China's Google. So that's the number 1 tip, but you have to ideally type in Chinese to find it. The second point is to go to your competitor's website and see where they have been featured, and you should be there. So that's quite straightforward. The third is there are third-party media news site where you pay for subscription, and then they will tell you a list of journalists, publications, whereby you can download lists and contact them. So there's a lot of like more PR agency like ourselves or trade focused agency use those professional database to find journalists, to find the right people in Asia, in China, and then feed them with the right information, find the right media angle to hook them. So it's always linked to what Chinese audience are now interested in, and then find an angle that is appealing to the Chinese media, such as, for example, with Brexit in UK, how the property investment sentiment by the Chinese investor in UK at the moment. So just make sure that there is a Chinese angle to it. It's not just about your company, but it's about bigger picture in order to get Chinese media wanting to write about you. So that would be my 3 tips to get yourself featured in the Chinese media.
Great. Thanks very much for sharing your secrets with our audience. Our audience is very lucky today to understand your trade secrets here. The next question is actually because you mentioned a lot about having a PR and media partner in China. So I suppose that's very important. But how do you find, a really matching PR and media partner in China? And what are the standards that you should be aware of when you select your PR or media partner?
Yeah, so I may be biased because I run our own PR agency, but there are things that you should look out for when you do try to identify a PR media agency to help you to build your brand reputation among the Chinese audience in China, Hong Kong, or even in the UK. So first one is just really looking at their expertise, what are their experiences, ask them for case studies and proof points to show that they can do it. They are not using you as a guinea pig or experiment, that they actually have done that already in the past, and therefore they should be able to also do a good job for you. Second one is to ask for client testimonial. So you can definitely ask the agency to give you some numbers for you to call their clients and ask what are their experiences working with the agency. And the third one is very obvious. Do meet the agency in person if you can, if not on Zoom. Because I think at the end of the day, it's people to people business. The chemistry is important. You have to like the people of the agency because you're going to deal with them, and they have to like you because they are going to represent you to the Chinese audience. So sometimes the client may choose an agency over a global agency with more experience, because at the end of the day, you need to understand who you are working with. And if you think if you can work with them in a long-term process, it's like a marriage. It's not just 3 months. Usually for PR, it's 12 months. With our clients, it's between 2 to 5 years. So it's like a long process in the sense that you work together towards a goal. So that matters a lot when you choose a local partner in that sense.
Yes, thanks very much for your answer, Sally. And you could also go on our platform, where we have a lot of different types of providers, including different types of agencies. If even if you can't meet them in person, you can contact with them directly through our platform as well. Another question from Catherine: what Chinese should be used in the materials that you suggested? Is it simple Chinese or Cantonese or traditional Chinese?
I see. So it depends on what market you are targeting. So if you are talking about the mainland China, then definitely simplified Chinese. But if you are talking about Hong Kong market, then you have to communicate in traditional Chinese. So it really depends on, are you targeting Hong Kong or mainland China or Chinese outside China? If it's Chinese outside China, then I will go for simplified Chinese, which is much more popular, while traditional China is very Hong Kong targeted. And I would say Hong Kong and China are quite different. Personally, I'm from Hong Kong, so so treat it as two different markets if you're thinking about China, Hong Kong.
Great answers. If there are no more questions from the audience, I will ask Sally one last question from myself. Can you give us, 3 tips for companies who start to think about building their thought leadership, building their brand in the Chinese markets?
Yeah, it is hard work. So meaning you do need to believe in your own company and services to have solid comments on your industry, on your products or services. So and don't be afraid if you don't know the answer. I think that's the agency job to help you to find all the good angles, good stories about you. And I would say it's always the people rather than company, especially if you are a new company to China, or if you are quite new in your own industry, because for us it's all about people. So when we are trying to build a thought leadership or brand reputation for our clients, even though they are big company, we always try to use the face of the CEO or the founder as the face of the company to tell the story of the company. So rather than say we are an ABC company, I would actually talk about the founder of ABC company, and then talk about the vision, why he does what he does. And that actually works really well for Chinese audience. So at the end of the day, it's still about people business. So that's the number one, focus on the people rather than the company, use the people to talk about the company. Second one, be visible, meaning that you should try to get yourself on trusted press in China. So when people search you, they can find you and they believe that you are really the expert in your field. Again, this is a long-term process. It's not just one article or 2 articles. It's like how you do in the UK as well. You don't expect people to buy your services, just see you in one article, but it's a consistent effort throughout the years. Number 3, I would say network like crazy. So meet people like me and Zhao, who already have an existing network of people, and it's still about trust. So so it's still by association. If I recommend you to my network, people tend to believe because they trust me. So it's the same how you do business here. And there is a huge community, Chinese community in the UK. So that might be your starting point to get to know more UK-based Chinese people, or where you are from, where you're based, before you go direct to the people in China.
Thanks very much, Sally, for joining us today, and also for all your answers to the brilliant answers to the questions. Before we end the session today, I would like to quickly introduce, as I mentioned, our fixed price services to you. When you go onto our platform, you can just go to service categories, and this is our marketing landing page. And these are all the pre-scoped services with clear, transparent pricing on top of it, including digital marketing, branding, PR, anything that you could imagine for doing business with China. When you are on our platform, we also have insights page where we will do write-ups of all our webinars, including this one, which will be up afterwards as well. For our upcoming events after today's How to Build Your Thought Leadership for the Chinese markets, we have 2 more this month. One is focusing on education, telling you about how to navigate the Chinese education market with the real case studies and how to mitigate currency and payment risks when trading with China. If you are interested in talking to Sally, talking to myself, you are more than welcome to contact us via our contact us link on the page, or call us or write an email to us. Thanks very much, Sally, for joining us today again, and thank you very much for attending for today's session. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you. See you all soon. Bye-bye.